Hello, my name is Jeff. I go by DigiDM, and today we are going to go from 3D miniature that we find on the internet to a 3D model in Foundry. I'm going to go pretty quick here. I hope this is a good reference video for anyone looking to either contribute to the token compendium or getting their own model in. So today I'm going with Bugbear. First, before you do anything, you're going to want to make sure that you need the 3D model. There is a full token compendium, and I have my settings set up to show me models that are not colored in. And you can see there's quite a few bugbears not colored, and we only have 3 bugbears. We got one with an axe, one with a morning star, and Burley the bugbear here. So I want something a little different. So I found on MZ4250's Patreon, he's got a bugbear rogue that I thought looked good. This guy here. So I find the bugbear rogue, and if you can find the blend file, that's going to be best for you. I'm going to stick that into my 3D objects. I do have, it looks like bugbear rogue is already downloaded. So that's great. You're going to want that blend file, and then you are going to want to open up Blender. So here's Blender. It's going to just do general. We're actually going to go open, and we're going to find that in my 3D objects under bugbears, I've got my bugbear rogue right here. So we'll go ahead and open that up, and here he is. And it starts out in this default view. I really like working in layout view, so I'm going to pop over to layout view. We're going to get rid of base by hitting X, delete. We've got all these lamps here. So I'm going to delete the lamps, X, delete, and we've got our bugbear. So I'm going to go into the -Y position, hit A, G to grab, Z to move just the Z axis, and bump them right on the red line there. And then hit Control A, all transforms. There we go. Now we could check them out. This is a full high def STL. He's a little off center, so I'm going to go ahead and do A, grab, and then Y, and just bump him back a bit. So he's going to be in the middle of his base when we set him up. Again, Control A to move that point to the center. And he's looking pretty good, so he should be pretty even. You know, he's leaned forward a bit, but the cape kind of makes up for it. So there's our bugbear. I could actually turn them too if I hit A to select all. I'm going to hit R and then Z just to move them so that way when we have auto rotate in Foundry, he'll be looking where he's going. So again, applying that transformation. Okay, he's looking good. We have all these pieces here. Oh my gosh, this one's a little bit more complex than usual because of all these collections. And I'm assuming we do not need all these collections. I would be surprised if you did. Let's first start with the armature. So this thing needs to be applied. I just like to clean all of this up. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the armature. We're going to right click, go to parent, and clear but keep transformation. We can get rid of that armature now. It's not doing anything for us. Then I'm going to start to merge things. So all these buckles, Control J to merge. I've got all these pouches. Anything that's going to be the same color is a good candidate for merging. So I wonder what happens. See, these are all, we don't need these collections. Can I just delete these? Delete hierarchy? Yeah, that looks like it's doing something. Again, I'm just cleaning things up here. So nothing's gone missing. He's still who he is. There's just a collection deal going on. Okay, so what have we got? We've got his fancy buckle, merged all those. We got himself. We've got the windswept cloak is what they're calling it. He's got a dagger, and then he's got these pouches. So pretty good. We've got several items, but it's not too complex, and he's set up. Now, we are going to take this whole collection. Let me fix my recording stream here. So we're going to take this whole collection and duplicate. And this is going to be our high poly, and we're going to have a low poly here. So what I like to do is, let's keep the high poly up top, the low poly on bottom. And we're going to start by selecting all, hitting tab to go into edit mode, and hit A to select all. And we're just going to merge by distance. And we're going to see a little notification that it removes 0. So I'm going to just increase the merge distance and see what that does. And I'm noticing too, because what we can do is, keeping our goal in mind, this vertices 1.1 mil, is we want the whole low poly model to be somewhere between 12 and 15,000 or so. So we got quite a bit of work ahead of us. I'm noticing this piece here has a modifier. I'm just going to go ahead and apply that. And then everything is clean and nice. Now, I take one step at a time here. We're going to start with the fancy buckles. We notice that the verts are 6,800. These are low poly. They don't need to be anything like this. So we're just going to decimate. I like to start with 0.1, and they're going to look, oh, they don't, I mean, that's great. They still have definition, and I like to apply a shade smooth to everything that I do. So this guy here, he's looking at 845,000. We're going to do a remesh with him. Sometimes I do a remesh, sometimes I don't. I recommend it, and trying to get, I don't really know what I'm doing, but if I do 0.01, you got to be really careful with this. If you enter a wrong number, the whole thing's going to shut down. So 140,000, I forget where we were at, but it was somewhere around there. So I'm just going to apply. Again, it's going to look like crap, but this is our low poly, so we're just trying to get it down and keep somewhat of the shapes. Some things that you could look for if you wanted to put it in the time. I'm doing a super fast version here, but you can look for little pixels on the points of the ears. Look, there's one there. And you can mess with the remesh to try to not get those things. I could easily just go into a edit mode, delete vertices if I wanted to. That was a Control Z to go through things, X, delete, and we're back. So it's up to you how much work you want to put into it. I do a lot of these, so I'm not putting that much work in. We're at 14,000. I'm going to go ahead and apply this decimate, but we're going to decimate a little bit more because he's got some extra stuff, and I want to get really around 14,000 total, not just his body. So we're going to drop it. Ooh, I'm going to keep that. So maybe somewhere around 0.75. Let's see what that gets us. Around 11,000. It looks okay. We'll shade smooth him. Let's see what we end up. We could always go back. A cloak here. These can be a little tricky just with the whole remesh decimate. We're at 278,000. Let's do a remesh and get us, that's fine. Again, we can look for all kinds of little pixelated loose parts. Decimate, start with my 0.1, see what it looks like. It's thinking, and it looks great. So we're at 21,000 verts. I'll apply that just so computational speed is faster for this next decimate. And I think I could do a 0.1 again. That's getting a little bit choppy, so let's do a 0.2. And we're at about 4,000 verts. I think I'm going to go with that. Shade smooth, there we go. Our dagger, what's our dagger sitting at? 2,000 verts. I'm just going to decimate this. I don't need to remesh it. I think it might be okay. Let's check it out. Okay, I'm a little bit, that's only 410. Let's do a 0.2, 0.5. What's that? See, we're going to get some of these discolorations. Let's do a remesh, actually. I wonder what that is going to do for us. Makes it look real choppy, and you can mess with this and sort of see how things look. Like I said, I'm getting into the weeds a little bit. As you can see, this can take time. Let's stick with our decimate. Let's see, we're at 2000 verts. Let's just drop it a little bit right before see this discoloration on the dagger. I want to get right before that because I'm afraid that the paint job might be bad. So we're at 1600 verts. Okay, and then our pouches. These are a little bit more hidden, so I will just, we're at 6000 verts. These tend to decimate pretty well at 0.1. Again, we got some discoloration there. That gets us right around 1400. Let's try that and see where we're at. Yeah, about 19,000. So I think all said and done, it's pretty good. Plus, Blender has a WebP texture format now. So we're going to take this, I'm going to hit A, I'm going to go to File, Export, we're going to do FBX. I'm going to make sure the selected objects, I'm in my Bugbear category, I'm going to pop in Bugbear Rogue, and then this is our low. So we'll just do a underscore low, make sure it's selected, bada boom, bada bing. Pop this guy up. He's our high poly model. You know what? Before we do that, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and export the high poly model. And I'll just tell you why I hesitated, because we've got all these wonderful pieces, and it's going to make the paint job so much easier if we go back to our low poly here and apply some materials. And that will help us paint, as Substance Painter wants materials. So we don't have any materials. I'm just going to hit New. We're going to call this Pouch. And I like to just sort of give them the general color I'm thinking, so that one will be brown. Dagger, called Dagger. We'll keep it like a silver and make it metallic. Cloak, oh gosh, what color cloak will this guy have? Maybe a bit of a beige, darkish cloak. Call it Cloak. We're going to go to the Bugbear himself. Just say Bugbear. We'll make him darkish, and then fancy buckles, which will be real easy, and make it so we don't have to paint all around each individual one. We'll sort of make those a bit yellow and make them metallic. But that doesn't really matter because it just gives us an idea. Now you could do this and just pop this into your game and call it good if you don't really want to fancy up the paint job. I mean, it's rudimentary, but it would work. But we're going to take this, I'm going to hit A, do another export, do the same thing I did a second ago, just overwrite my low, and you'll see why that is helpful in a moment. We are going to move over to Adobe Substance 3D Painter. So I like to save my Blender files. I'm going to go ahead and save as, and we just have our rogue blend. It's going to overwrite that one, but that's fine by me. I can always get him if I want to later. But we're going to pop over to our Substance 3D Painter. Now, I just opened up the program. I'm going to go to File, New, and I know I'm going fast, but this will be on YouTube, so feel free to pause. I like to work in 2K, and then this template, I have PBR no opacity. I set this up, and I'll show you what you need to do if you're just using like a PBR metallic roughness, which is often the case for a lot of these starter assets, because what it does for Blender is it kind of messes up the backface culling, and it kind of makes it look funny, and we see that all the time. So I'll show you how we get to that. 3D objects, I'm going to pop over to my Bugbear. There's our rogue, and we're going to choose low and just go ahead and let that do its job. Make sure you have automatic UV unwrapping checked, and you should see that kind of thing. And it will pop in our low poly model. And then over here we've got all of the items that we created textures for. So it's going to help us out later. Now this texture set, opacity is right here for each texture. So this is the default. If we get rid of that, you'll sort of get the piece, the template that I have set up, so I don't even have to do this each time. But opacity will mess with your Blender output. So we get rid of opacity. And this is our low poly model, as you can see. Not many details, doesn't look that great, so we're going to go to Edit, Bake Mesh Maps, choose 2048. Again, this can be changed later. Pick my high poly. I've got these, you can look more into these. Again, I'm going quick here, so Bake. It's got the maps that I like to use and that work well for me. Plus, I could spend a lot of time painting a mini, and this video isn't detailed like you could find many tutorials on 3D Painter or Blender. This is a quick and dirty if you're just got a mini that you want to get into a Foundry game, and you have these tools like Blender and Substance 3D Painter, then hopefully this video will help you out. Okay, so there we go. I check him out. He's looking pretty good. I could shift right click drag to change my lighting. I can alt long left click. I could see some maybe the beard might be a little bit splotchy. Again, not something I'm trying to win any awards for, but he looks pretty good. Okay, let's check our texture sets. Okay, opacity didn't come back. We still have these. Now what I like to do is get some basic colors going. And since we have these pieces, for example, I'm on the pouch right now, all I have to do is add, let's call it leather. I like these light leathers for the pouches. And there we go. We've got sort of a pouch color. I'm going to go up to the dagger. We'll just add a metal just to get a sense of things. I like steel for weapons, and again we'll get the handle and stuff different later, but it's looking pretty good. We'll go up to the cloak, which looks like I spelled funny. For these, for fabrics and stuff, there's a method where we create a folder. I'm going to create a fill layer. I'll get rid of this empty layer here. And we're going to pick, I kind of like that kind of, yeah, this kind of greenish color. So I'm going to choose my base. I'm going to copy, paste, copy, paste. And the top one is going to be a little bit darker. And the middle one is going to be a little bit brighter. And what we're going to do is create a black mask, right click, add generator, and add dirt. And then for my fill, it's going to do the same thing, except it's going to be a mask editor, which gives us some highlights. So we can see how that worked. And then one thing that I do that will add to everything, this is from Gerbo's skill set. I think he got it from some tutorial, but we have a matte to make it look a little bit more like a paint job. So I could actually take this and copy it and add it to my layers just so it's there. And the dagger layer is probably going to, if I move this over, mess with the paint job of the metal if I add a, yep, see it flattens it out. So we'll just put that under the steel, which will help us later. And then we're going to go to the bugbear himself. Now, he's mostly got clothes on, which would be easier to kind of create his clothes layer and then do his face as a mask. So we'll say he's wearing sort of some charcoal kind of thing. So I'm going to do that same technique where I add a fill. I'm thinking like a dark bluish kind of. I've noticed that I like things a little bit lighter because they look better in Foundry. they kind of make a bit more of a pop. So again, copy paste, copy paste. We're going to take one, make it darker, take one, make it lighter. The light one will get the generator for mask editor, and the dark one will get the generator for dirt. We'll make sure that our matte is on there without the color. Oops. There we go. Okay, so that's kind of gives us an idea of his clothing. We'll do some better boots and that kind of thing, but again, just rough ideas for now. And then he's got these buckles, which probably just make a silver armor. Might be easy enough. Sometimes I like to do bronze. See what that looks like. Yeah, I think bronze could work. So this is where you can spend a lot of time making your model pretty and learning about Substance 3D Painter. I'm going to try to keep things going pretty quick here. So we're going to do black boots. I'm going to keep this in real time. Let's do like this. Copy paste, copy paste. One's going to be dark, dark. And we're going to make that a dirt. We'll make this one a bit brighter. And make that our mask editor. And you can mess with all these settings. Like I said, you could take as much time as you care to take. I kind of like these just like that. One thing I'm going to do now, because I don't want all of him to be dark, I'm going to add a black mask to my boots and use this tool here and just make it real easy on me and get all the boots. I'm going to fix that up later because it's easier for me to go around and erase than trying to get everything. So there is techniques if you want to sit there and choose individual. Hit X to bounce back between masking and not masking. Again, you could spend a lot of time doing this. I could just pop over to that side. These minis are often thrown on the board. This Bugbear Rogue might be more of a one you would spend time on due to a player playing a Bugbear, maybe. But I'm just contributing to the compendium, so I don't have any particular affinity for this Bugbear, so he's just going to be kind of standard. One thing I'm going to do though, I think I might make his pants kind of brownish. He's got some armor on too. Looks like he's got a shirt, so his arms, I got to find the fur. Let's do the fur. His fur is going to be his whole head, his hands. So we're going to create a folder. I'm going to name this one fur. Bugbears tend to be brownish in nature. That's fine. I'm going to copy paste, make one quite a bit darker, make one quite a bit lighter. This will be our, oops, not a white mask. Remove our dirt. This will be our highlights. And again, you can mess with the settings to determine how much highlights you get. Look at this global balance. I could sort of really emphasize. That kind of gives it a more of a paint job. You can get some of these weird texture lines though, depending on your mesh. But I actually think that's going to look good with his beard. I might do a darker mask on that. But Let's do a black mask and paint his hands, his arms. Again, I'm going to grab this button and grab all the way through his elbow there. Now, this is exactly one of the reasons you want a Blender file, is I can paint through his dagger, and since it's a separate material, I'm going to say the same thing with the cloak too, so I can just sort of paint through and not worry about going through to the cloak or the dagger. So that can be really nice. Tab to make it full screen, makes it a little bit easier to paint. Again, you can right click shift drag to change the lighting. And this is the fun part, so you know, it can be, you could spend a lot of time choosing colors, and one of the things that I encourage you to do is not worry about the colors so much, because once you're sort of done with the masking, you can change things really easily, really easily. So another thing you can do if you were so inclined is hit F1 and check out your UV map. For example, here it might be easier for me, even clicking, you know, I just have my my non-mask going here, so you could just do it this way if that's easier for you. I prefer the model. Just check it out. Sometimes, oops, Control Z to fix my mistake there. Looking good, Bugbear. Okay, so he's got his face. He's got his, oh, he doesn't have his face. Oh my gosh. Let's grab his face. So I'm going to do that full thing. And since his cloak and oh, I might have to unpaint his neck there. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so you know, how many people are really going to see these defections? I noticed that MZ4250 is, you know, he's doing this stuff for free, and he's doesn't have, you know, the most perfect mixes and such, but appreciate him for delivering free models. So, you know, keep in mind that you might have little imperfections that aren't based on what you did in Blender, but actually is the model. So I'm just cleaning this up a little bit. He's going to have, I'm debating, that looks like hair. We could just leave that as hair. And then I think what I'll do is probably blur his face. So I don't know. Let's see what happens. So keeping it, I'm going to copy his fur. I'm actually going to make it darker. So I'm just going to take each one of these and make it a bit darker. I think our dirt is probably pretty dark, but yeah, we can go darker on the dirt. And then the highlights is where we're really going to see the change. Maybe going a little bit, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to clear this mask and create my beard. So if I reduce the flow a little bit, I can really just make it subtle. But that is up to you. Oops. There we go. This is, since it's a flow, it's really based on how much you drag the mouse around the area. I'm just wanting to be subtle here. Or, now that I'm looking at it, I might make it even darker, which can be done on the paint side of things. Or we can make him stand out with really dark hair or something. We definitely want his hair to be, yeah, let's make it darker. Let me just make our highlight more towards the black side of things. There we go. And then we'll keep this. We can even see what it would look like at full, since it's so subtle. It won't be like a harsh line because of his skin being a similar tone. Okay, I did not intend this video to be all about painting, so I'm gonna try to move along here. Again, you could spend as much time as you want. This can be a lot of fun. You can add custom tattoos. You can do all kinds of stuff. Oh my gosh, his hair is not defined, huh? So let's just do a little bit of a blend. Okay. Let's give him some gnarly teeth. Now you'd think teeth could just be teeth and make them white, but nope. That's too white of teeth, so we'll keep these a little bit darker. And that's too red, so we'll do something like that. I'm going to control copy. I like to make this dirt part like on the yellow side, and we don't really need, again, you can create highlights and stuff, but for something like teeth, if I just have a little bit darker shade, we can get some pretty good looking teeth that way without being starkly white, unless that's what you're going for. Let me change my flow back, and then we've got our gnarly teeth. Give them a couple of something like that. Again, you could spend a lot of time making them look extra good. Let's get those eyebrows going, huh? Ooh. Okay. He's a very eyebrow boy. All right. Looking pretty gnarly. Can we even see this guy's eyes? Maybe enough. Let's do just a quick, I'll explain how I do eyes here, but it's pretty simple. The default color for the whites, and then I'll add a black, do a mask there, just for like simple eyes, and his is pretty simple. And then I'll add another white, just for this little tiny dot. Let me just adjust my mouse, and that's just going to give a little bit of character so we could kind of see those eyes. All right. I kind of want his pants to be different, tell you that much. Oh, and we got some belts here, so I'm thinking these pouch can be dark brown too, kind of fit a brown theme. So let's go over to our pouches, show how easy it is to just find the base and drop it to something that looks a little better. I'm going to go ahead and add that silver armor above my matte and do a black mask, and we'll get these little spots. Let's see here. Oops. Super simple. Oh, what happened? If ever you can't paint, it's probably because you have the wrong mask on, or you're on the wrong layer. For example, I can't paint here because that's a different layer. Oh, that's what I accidentally painted. Let's come over here and paint this clasp. You can see some defects in my decimation, but again, these are such small things, and we are not trying to win any prizes. If you were, though, I'm sure you can make something great. There's a way to do straight lines by holding Shift, click, shift click, which I find useful a lot of the time. Okay. Sometimes you get stuck in the model like this. Sometimes you got to turn. There we go. Now, in order to get the pouches to match here, I've got my silver armor, but I'm going to take this, copy that leather, and go to our bugbear. And since it's just above, you know what we should do just for good practice? We're going to say these are the eyes. Clean up this a little bit. Stick them in that same order. There we go. And then we will paste our leather and paint it right here. So that way these match. I'm not really worried about the buckle now because above the buckle is going to be that silver armor paint. I could do sort of between here. You can have as much detail as you feel necessary. I'm going to find my silver armor, which is right here. This I'm going to pop above my mat and black mask it here. Even smaller for this part. Looks like I could do the bottom that way too. Okay. Shift to do straight lines, and then you can right click, what is that, Alt Control to manually change your brush size, and then X to toggle your mask. So I'd say that looks pretty good. Again, not trying to win awards. He's got the, let's give him some, thinking if I copy his pants over and make these more of a tannish, and then so this is what you could do. Grab this dropper if you're changing colors but not trying to change, not trying to redo your whole filing system there. And I'm just going to paint his trousers, and you know, I'm gonna again do some cheat codes here just so I can save some time. And you know what I could do, because the boots, I didn't even think about that. The boots, even though they're on the bugbear, they are above, so I'm not gonna hurt anything by dragging across the boots. So all I have to do is be mindful of this line here, since this is above my, or below my layers, below this layer I'm on. Clean up his booty, even though no one's going to be looking here. I often find myself painting and thinking to myself, nobody's going to be looking here. But I'm reminded that a lot of folks have their 3D canvas set to where when tokens die, the model flips upside down. So thanks the Ripper for having us be mindful about the undersides of our 3D models. Okay. Not really liking his pants. They look a little yellow to me. So I was hoping for more of a brown. So we're going to change this yellow, try to get something a little bit more, ooh, kind of a red would be cool. Let's do the base color a little bit towards the red end of things. That looks pretty good. We'll make the highlights just slightly above that, and make the lowlights way below that. See what kind of, it's too pink. I said red, yeah, red. Kind of on the red side of things. see what that can do. Oops, let's keep that color. This is what I probably made the mistake of hitting the wrong color. And then dark, we're going to go here, but darker. Yeah, something like that. Kind of want these highlights to be more, there we go, a little bit moodier. Okay. Again, this was supposed to be quick, so let's check them out. See if there's anything I really want to do. Check out his cloak, which looks fine to me. I could probably blur if I wanted to. Yeah, let's check out the cloak. I see. So the dirt layer probably has dirt level contrast. Let's check out this mask, the highlights. This can blur, but I'm not really seeing. It's probably going to be my dirt layer. Dirt contrast. See, yeah, that's what I was getting. And so we want it to be a little bit more. That looks good. And I'm going to check out this mask too, because I often find this mask layer, the balance, can really make it look painted. And then I can blur that a little bit too. Gives it a little bit more pop. All right. It's looking pretty good. That's our Bugbear Rogue. Oh yeah, his armor. We should pop him with some armor. Oh, and I see that I have his Bugbear skin showing in his undershirt. So I'm not taking my time, but you should definitely take your time with quality control on your model here. I'm thinking, so for the padding on the arms, and his shirt could be different too. So I could spend time on this just to make those details, but for this video, we'll just move forward. So I could feel myself saying, oh, do the arms and do the shoulder pads and all that stuff, which I probably will go back and do before I submit it to Compendium. But for this video, I want to move forward. So there he is. We're going to go ahead and I should probably save him. I've got my Bugbear Rogue. We're going to call him Bugbear Rogue. There he is. We're going to do a file, export textures, and we're going to use our GLTF PBR metal roughness. I'm going to pick my spot where the Bugbear Rogue was. It's in our roughness. This is our texture size. You know what we're going to do? I think it's really nice to be able to use a 2K texture. This was about 20,000 vertices, and usually I use 1K texture, and probably for the compendium. But I want to show you that with 2K, we could still get a decent file size. We still want it to be less than a megabyte. Let's see what we can get to. So we're going to export that. It does its thing. There we go. And we're going to open up Blender again. So this is our Bugbear, if you recall. I'm going to hit H to hide him, and we're going to do a file, import GLB, GLTF, find our Bugbear Rogue, 44.8 megabytes. And there he is, really big, so I'm just S and dragging towards the center to size him down. Sizing really doesn't matter that much because in Foundry, it'll sort of be standardized. But what I like to do is take all this, hit A and hit Control J to merge him. And then we can sort of use this as a size guide. Make him, Bugbear's probably 2 meters, 2 point something, so he could be pretty big. And then I'll just hit Control A. And so that way, if we drop him as a tile or something, I don't know what it does. Hopefully it gets him close to where we want him to be. So now I'm going to export our GLBF, or GLTF, GLB. I'm going to overwrite this one, and I have a preset for WebP. Now, what does that mean? We're going to include selected objects, not all the other bugbear stuff I've got. And then for the mesh, we've got our UVs normals. For the material, this is new for Blender, so we want that WebP format. I've got 85 set. It's up to you. And then I'm going to turn on compression here. I didn't realize that wasn't on, and turn it up. And let's see if we can get this 44.8 down to something manageable. Black square means it's thinking. Hopefully it's doing a big old compression. Okay, we're going to move them aside by G and X. I'm going to do a file, import GLB, and we have 3.9, so not quite what I wanted to get him to. So what we'll do is we'll go back and export in a 1K format. Oops, did I just paint on something? Nope, okay. File, export. We're going to stick to 1K, keep it there, and then we will get rid of him. Import our 1K model. We'll see the difference here at 13.5. Quite a big difference. Bring them back down. Control J to merge all of these materials. Export. We're going to bring that 13.5 down. And again, we want that compression checked. So Bugbear Rogue at 13.5. Let's see what this one does. Move them over. Import 1.4. So that's pretty good. Now, you can make it smaller by cleaning up the materials that I used, especially by making sure the mesh is right around that 12 to 15K. But I'm pretty good. Let's get them in Foundry. So here's the bugbear that I have. I'm going to go to my settings. This guy's from the compendium. It looks great. We're going to choose under, I'm going to put them in user data. So I've got my world for monsters. Let's see, I should have 3D assets. Creatures, let's create a bugbear directory and choose our bugbear. So it's going to be this GLB, pops in there, update token, and we have a bugbear. Pretty great. I believe I have some hotkeys for showing off this bugbear so you could see colors turned out okay. Probably could have his eyebrows look a little funny, but that's how you go from a MZ4250 model using the blend option to Foundry. Now, one thing I will say is that you can use a non-Blender file. The only difference is all of these pieces are together. So if all of these were merged, I don't get that option of using different materials, so I have to paint around each buckle. I have to paint around each piece in Substance Painter. I have to, make sure that when I painted his whole hand, it didn't go through to the cloak, and I'd have to, it would take a lot extra time just because of those materials. But it can be done with any STL model. So that is the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and look out for this bugbear in the compendium, Bugbear Rogue. Thanks so much.